Hello, it's another video from the Angry Photographer here. We're going to try and kill two birds with one stone and talk about two lenses that would be top or second highest recommendation for the purchase of your D7000 series camera, or the older D90 or D70 series, which are much older Nikon crop sensor cameras. This is now superficially, seemingly so, on paper. A lot of people have asked about these lenses since they seem rather similar but are to a degree worlds apart. That would be the first off, the Nikkor 60mm micro Nikkor 2.8. It is an autofocus lens, and now this is a screw drive lens. It will not autofocus on a D3000 or D5000 series camera. So, and secondly so is the AI lens. This is unquestionably, in my opinion, the toughest lens Nikon ever made. This is probably the only lens that I know of that I think I could chuck like a baseball down a steep hill for a mile and it would still be intact at the end of that hill. This is the Nikkor micro Nikkor 55mm f2.8, and it's a rather beefy little sucker and nearly indestructible. The 60mm AF Nikkor 2.8D autofocus lens is nowhere near as tough, but this is top or second recommendation. Now this is assuming you already have a mid-range zoom and assuming that you may or may not have a wide zoom. A wide zoom, as I've argued many times before, is in most cases the second most important lens for you to have. Now if you're going to get a prime lens that is also going to act like a portrait lens on your DX camera, one option obviously is a cheap 50mm of whatever flavor, either a G or a 50mm 1.8D lens like this, which is typically about $100 used. That's a screw drive lens, as well as the 60mm AFD Nikkor. Do not recommend the 60mm autofocus macro Nikkor that is the G series, only this, the 60mm D series. This is a non-D series, but there's no ultimate difference between the two. They're both identical. Now this lens can be had typically for $200 to $225 used. Top recommendation, it is the genuine Swiss Army knife for your Nikon camera. If you already have a wide zoom, this is the lens I recommend you purchase next. Is a perfect portrait lens on your Nikon DX camera. Is a perfect normal lens. It is just insanely sharp, and like I said, if you do have the capacity on your D7000 series, D90, and a few others to autofocus drive this lens, but you're also able to manually focus it as you can any other G series lens. However, this is a D series. Second lens that a lot of people have thought were identical. It's like, why should I buy this one, since this one's typically $200 used and this one's typically $70 or $80 used. However, I often quite find that for $60 used, that is the micro Nikkor 55mm, is an AI manual focus only lens. You have to use your camera in either manual mode or aperture priority. It is manual focus only. It is built like a tank. It is rather cheap, but the reproduction rate on the 60mm is 1:1, whereas on the 55mm the reproduction rate is 1:2. This is an excellent lens. I have a few of them, and they're just incredibly well made. Actually, they're the best made Nikkor lens, bar none. So I do recommend the purchase of this. Now necessarily I'm not recommending the ownership of both of these, since that's rather redundant, but these lenses are rather far apart. Now the question remains whether you plan on doing a lot of macro work or what your budget is. Now if you plan on doing a limited amount of macro work and you don't mind manually focusing the lens and you're on a tighter budget, then I do recommend the 55mm. As manual focus, you got no autofocus ability, and said it's an old manual lens, but it's tough as a tank, and you can buy it for $60. However, if you have the budget for $200, you want the perfect portrait lens for your DX 7000 series and some others that will autofocus. It's a great reproduction lens, perfect portrait lens, and I highly recommend not the G series, but the AF micro Nikkor 60mm D lens. I can't remember the current new cost on it, but like I said, new $200 to $225. So it's either top or second recommendation for your Nikon DX camera. Like I said, neither one of these will autofocus on a D3000 or 5000 series, so please take note of that. And thank you for watching. Bye.